Okay, I hope my screen is visible now. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. So let's do a small recap. Yesterday, okay. So we are discussing about the create command, right? We have just started discussing about create command. So create command in SQL is used to create. Typically, you can use create command to create various database objects. So if you want to create table, you can go for create command. And if you want to create views, synonyms like sequences, indexes, schemas, there are so many operations that you can do by using the create command. So we started understanding about the create command in detail. So we try to understand how to create a table. And again, while creating a table, we have come across the data type, right? So we need to understand we need to understand about the data type so that creating table would become very easy. And also we need to understand about constraints, which are optional. Okay, this is not a mandatory field that you have to place. So these things are optionals. Depending upon the requirement, you go with the constraints. You will also see what are constraints. But when you want to create a table, you must understand what is the data type. So typically there are, you know what is a table. Table is a collection of rows and columns, and maximum you can at any point of time you can have 1,000 columns, 1,000 columns. Okay? So you cannot have more than that. You cannot have more than that. But there are no restrictions for rows. You ask me, is there any restrictions for number of rows? Of course, no. There are no restrictions, right? And if you want to ensure that what kind of data that is being stored to make it organized, we will go with the data type, right? So data type, again, the data types are classified into 6 types. You have numeric, you have string or character data type, you have long, you have date data type, raw and long raw data types, and large objects data types. So again, numeric data type, there is integer data type, and there is number data type, which accepts 2 arguments, right? So integers stores integers only. By default, it will store only integer values, and it can store any positive number or negative number without fractional part. And if you are intentionally giving any number with the fractional part, that will get truncated and only the integer number will be stored. Right? And this is the range of the integer data type. So we have understood how to create a table, how to create a table with a simple table name and a column name that follows the integer data type, that accepts the integer data type. Right? We have seen some examples. Right? And you cannot pass a string in the integer data type because it is not in the integer scope. Set of characters is not accepted, and you get what? You get something like invalid number. And we have also understood about the number data type. It should be R. Okay, please be informed that the number data type store both integer and floating point values. So if you just pass number with p as an argument, it stores only the integer values. And if you pass numbers with p comma s with 2 arguments, it stores both integer and floating point values. So where p is a precision, we know what is a precision. For any fractional number, the number of digits in the integer part plus the number of digits in the fractional part gives you precision. Right? What is a scale? The count that you see in the fractional part is called as what? Scale. The count that you see in the fractional part is called a scale. Right? So these are the things that we have discussed yesterday, and today we will understand about the string or character data type. String or character data type. Okay. So what is the use of string or character data type? The name itself says string or character. Name itself says you can store any data that is in the form of string. I can write it like to store any data, to string data, so string format data. We have to use string or character data type. The first point. The second point is if you want to represent a string in MySQL, see in Java you can represent a string like within double quotes you will be representing a string. For if you say you take Java, you want to store a sequence of characters. So this sequence of characters can be represented within the double quotes. You use double quotes in the major of the programming languages, but in Oracle you want to represent a sequence of character. If you want to represent the same sequence of character, you use what? You use single quotes. If the sequence of characters get enclosed within the single quotes in Oracle, in MySQL programming, in MySQL language, I say. So I can say that string can be represented within the single quotes in the databases. String can be represented in the single quotes in the database. For example, if you want to show some examples, if I take RAM, okay, this RAM is what? This RAM is valid. It's a valid string in database. A valid string in database. Okay. And if I take Sam, it is not valid. Because Sam is a string, it's a sequence of characters, and you want to represent the sequence of characters within the single quotes. The valid string in database, it is not a valid string. Okay, third one, if you are taking something like Ali within double quotes, okay, this is also not valid. Not a valid string. Okay. And again, if you're taking a number, for example, if you want to represent some numbers like I want to represent a number like 589. Okay. If I enclose this 589 within single quotes, okay, this is also valid one because this will be treated as a string. It will not be treated as a numerical value. Why it will not be treated as a numerical value? Even though it is a number, but you are enclosing that with the single quotes. So the database will treat it as what? It is going to treat this as a string, not the numerical value. So it is also valid. However, it will be treated as a string. Treated as a string. These are the examples. So the takeaway is only this, if you are placing a sequence of characters, or if you are also representing a number within single quotes, that will be treated as a string. It should not be double quotes, and it should not be without it should not be represented in a plain way. So this is the takeaway. Right? And again, if you talk about the string format data, we are saying about the string format data. The string format data can be represented in two ways. I can say that string format data, else please be informed that the string format data is categorized into two types. Okay. First one is there is a concept called characters only string. Characters only string, and there is a concept called alphanumeric string. Okay, alphanumeric string. So you can, what is character only string? So it is when you see only characters, like when you are using a string which is going to have characters from capital A to Z, or which is going to have characters from small a to Z, right? So these are the restrictions. Okay, when you restrict a string with these characters, it is only character, it is characters only string. So you don't see any other characters apart from this range. You don't see any numbers, you don't see any special symbols, and don't see such things. Only you see what? You see capital A to capital Z, or small a to small z. So you can say that. So this is what? This is the character only string. And again, if you have any string, which has the alphabet starting from A to Z, or the alphabet starting from lowercase of A to Z, and the number starting from 0 to 9, okay, and some special symbols like this, etc., which includes all the special symbols. Okay, this string is called as what? If you see any string that is that has all these things, right, that string is treated as what? Alphanumeric string. Example for a character only string is, I can say examples. Very easy. The examples like, what? Character only string. Balaji, character only string. So it should be in a single quotes, not in the double quotes, single quotes. Okay, and when you say a string is alphanumeric string, so this is the example. So you would say, you would give the example like palu123@gmail.com. Okay, this string has the characters, it has numbers, it has also the special symbol. So this is called as what? Alphanumeric string. Again and again, it has to get enclosed in a single quote if you want to represent a string in the database. Usually, when you are storing data like email addresses, or if you are storing something like password is in the password is highly secured, right? You use these combinations, right? You should be using the alphabets and the numbers as well as the special symbols. The combination of alphanumeric characters gives you the what? Gives you the strong password, right? So in order to create your password, one has to use what? The alphanumeric strings, right? If you want to store data like the plain name, your first name, last name, right? Name does not have the numbers, right? So if such cases, you can go for the character only string. So this is just a differentiation, this is just a categorization. By looking at a particular string, for example, if I'm giving you a string like Smith, okay, you should be in a position to say, okay, this is what? Character only string. And if I'm giving you an example like Ganesh, okay, at the rate gmail.com, you should be in a position to say, okay, this is what? This is alphanumeric string. Just for the identification bar, right? So and again, string character data type are classified into two types. String or character data type are classified into how many types? They are classified into two types. Character data type are classified into two types. Okay, now focus here. So you have something like non-universal supported character. Non-universal supported characters. First one, non-universal supported characters. This is one of the types. This is one of the types which stores only the localized data of the data types. Stores the localized data. example English language. English language. So when you say that there is a data type, the data type that is supporting the non-universal characters. So non-universal list means very simple. So all the computers, all the database, or else I can say that majority of the computers in the world or majority of the databases, they work on the English language. Okay, when any database or when any systems, when any machines that is working upon the English language, right? The instructions are seen in the English language. The programs are written in the English language. The output is given in the English language. The internally processing may be happening in a different language, but when you see the input and when you see the output, everything will be in the form of English language. When you see such things even in the databases, okay? So if you are storing such data, it is called as what? The localized data. It is completely localized. But what if I want to represent the regional languages? For example, let us take our country as an example. In India, there are many official languages. We have official languages, right? So we have Tamil, we have Telugu, we have Hindi, we have Malayalam. There are many languages. But if I want to represent my data in my local language, in my regional language, I can say, or else there are other major languages in the world. You have Spanish. Spanish is also a major language. Okay, after English, you have Portuguese. Okay. You have German. They are also what? They are also the major languages in the world because these languages are used in many countries like Brazil, and you have Argentina, and in some African countries they use these languages. After English, these are the popular language, and you have Chinese. The population have the major Chinese is one of the majorly spoken language in the world. And if you want to represent these languages, there is an option in the databases. So for the non-universal supported characters, it is going to represent only the localized data, which is English directly. Okay. Under this, if you want to represent only English, if you want to go for the English language, so there are two data types. Okay, one is the character data type. This char data type is going to accept a size. Okay, you can give the size, right? You can pass any size. I will help you with the limitations. Second one is you have something like varchar2. It is also going to take a size. So these data type, char data type and varchar2 data type, where you can store data in the form of English language. So we are going to discuss only char2 and varchar2. Right? So this is all as what non-Unicode supported characters. Okay, and we can represent only the localized data, which is the English language. And there is another thing. There is another thing which is called as what? Unicode data types. Unicode data types. Unicode stands for Universal Character Encoding. Universal Character Encoding. Right? So universal character encoding, this is one of the options that you have. This is one of the major options that you have where you can represent all the major languages in the world. I can say that Unicode. What is Unicode? Unicode. Let's say what is Unicode? It is what? Universal Character Encoding Standard. Okay? It is a universal standard. Universal Character Encoding Standard. Character Encoding Standard. Okay, so that allows our computers to represent and manipulate text in different languages or different writings. That allows systems to represent and manipulate the regional languages. Different. I can simply say it will allow and to represent our regional languages. So this has been given to represent every character in every language, in every major language. right? You can represent any kind of major languages that is in the world. Examples I have given. You can represent the Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, Chinese, Spanish, whatever it is. You want to store that data in the database, you can store it by going with the universal character encoding data types option. Okay, what are these? What are these examples? Let me give the examples. All major languages in the world is in the world. Okay, and what are the data types that is under this universal character encoding, Unicode? Okay, you have what? You have Nchar, okay, which is going to accept the size, and you have what? You have the varchar2, Nvarchar2, going to accept this. Okay, let me recap. So there are again the string character data types are classified into two types. One is non-universal supported characters, and the second one is what? Unicode data types. Okay, the non-universal supported characters are going to store only what? It is going to store only the localized data, which is the English language. Under this, you have two data types. One is character and the varchar2. And again, under universal character encoding data types, it is going to represent all the major languages in the world. Example, if you want to represent Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, Chinese, Spanish, major languages, right? You can use what? You can, instead of char, you will be using Nchar. Instead of varchar2, you will be using Nvarchar2. N stands for national language. It is an acronym for what? National language. N stands for national language. Okay, now let us understand one by one. So we have seen, now we need to focus on these two data types. How you can use this char data type and varchar2 data type, nchar data type and nvarchar2 data type. Let's talk about char data type. Char of size. Okay. The first point is, when you want to use this char size data type, it is found that it is a pixel length data type. I will tell you what is a pixel length. Pixel length data type. Okay, and it is pixel length data types are always called as what? The static types. And the second point is, so it is under which category? It is under non-universal supporter characters. It is under what? It is under non-Unicode characters, I can say. I can say non-Unicode characters. Non-Unicode characters. Non-Unicode characters. So it will store the non-Unicode characters only. Store only the non-Unicode characters. Which is what? English language. Okay, the second point is also very clear. Non-Unicode characters only, it is going to store the English language, right? And we will talk about this size. We will talk about this size in English language in the form of 1 byte. 1 byte for every character. Every character. Okay, and the maximum size. Let's talk about its maximum size. Maximum size is 2000 bytes. Let us understand this. So I'm saying, so if you look at this point, second point, so in the form of 1 byte for every character. So I want to store a character, a sequence of character like Sam. I want to store a sequence of character like Sam. So it will occupy 1 byte for each character. So the occupation is how many bytes totally? 3 bytes is occupied. But if I want to store something like Ram, or Ramu. Okay, it is going to occupy how many bytes? For every character, 1 byte of memory will be occupied. So there are 4 characters here, right? So 4 bytes will be occupied. Like this, the maximum size is what? 2000 bytes, which means at any point of time you can store up to 2000 characters, because each character is occupying 1 byte. So for 2000 bytes, it is going to occupy 2000 characters. 2000 characters. And if you want to store any character, that is exceeding this, you want to store a sequence of characters which has 2001 characters, okay, it is invalid, it will be failed. Okay, this is understood. Why it is called as fixed length data type? Why it is called as fixed length data types? You will understand that now. And when I say fixed length data type, for example, if you want to store the employee details in the form of tables, okay, so I will be creating a column like ename. Okay, ename, I am going to give the data type as what? Character data type. I want to store up to 10 characters. I want to store up to 10 characters. If the size exists, for example, let us say that I want to store something like, okay, or else let me say I want to store something like good. Okay, this is completely allowed. There will be no issues. Okay. In the behind the scenes, how this is going to get stored is, what is the size that you have given here? Char 10 is the size, right? So there will be 10 blocks of memory will be created in the behind the scenes. How many blocks of memory? 10 blocks of memory. Focus here. The good will be like G O O P. 4 blocks are occupied. Okay, remaining how many blocks would be left? 6 blocks would be left. Okay, these 6 blocks would be padded with what? It would be padded with spaces. Would be padded with spaces. Because the size is fixed. Because you have already said that the size is 10. Char of 10 means 10 blocks of memory will be created, and you want to store a sequence of string. You want to store a string which is good. Okay, it is going to occupy first 4 blocks, and the remaining leftover spaces will be there, isn't it? That spaces will be padded with what? Padded with spaces. Okay, literally, what does it mean? This is completely allowed. This is allowed. It is accepted, and this is valid. However, when you look at the memory usage, only from the 10 bytes, only 4 bytes of memory is used completely. 4 bytes of memory is used. Okay, and the remaining 6 bytes are padded with spaces, which means they are wasted. Remaining 6 bytes of memory is what? Remaining 6 bytes of memory is wasted. Okay, for example, if I want to store something like morning, okay, and in the morning, and definitely the size is 10, right? So morning will be stored accordingly. Okay, so 1 byte, 2 byte, 3 byte, 4 byte, 5 bytes, 6 bytes, 7 bytes. So 7 bytes are occupied, and the remaining bytes, okay, the leftover bytes will be padded with spaces. Padded with spaces. Okay, I can write it like 7 bytes of memory has been used. 7 bytes memory is used. Okay, and 3 bytes are wasted. 3 bytes are wasted. Likewise, if I take something like good morning. Okay, and what is the actual size? We have given it as 10, right? So now you see what will happen. Okay, 10 bytes are over. 10 bytes are occupied. So there is no more space for the remaining characters, which is what? What is a leftover character? G is a leftover character. Right? This is out of the range because you have defined already that the size is going to be 10, but it is exceeding the size. So this becomes what? This becomes the invalid one. This becomes what? This becomes the invalid one. Invalid. Understood? Okay. So when I say fixed data type, that's data is always, I mean, the size is always fixed. However, you will be seeing what lot of wastages. In this scenario, okay, there are 6 bytes wasted. In this scenario, there are 3 bytes wasted. Totally 10 bytes wasted. That's why it is called as what? It is a fixed length data type which is static in nature. Okay, even though if this data is weighted, this will not get truncated. The database is not going to truncate this thing for the future purpose. This will be there just like that. Okay, in what cases we can go for the fixed data type? If you ask me, I can say that if you know that the some kind of data is going to store only the fixed set of characters, only fixed values, then you can go for what? Char data type. What is the example? Okay, I can go for phone numbers. The phone numbers, Indian phone numbers, they are how many digits? 10 digits. Let me write it here. When it is recommended to go for fixed data type or char data type. Char. Okay. When you already know that the particular database column going to store the fixed number of characters at any point of time. Can use char. Char data type is recommended. Example, phone numbers. Phone numbers is always 10 digits. Okay. The other example, gender. Gender means M or F. So from the user end, from the front end or from the user end, you may receive either it is M or it is F. M is representing what? Male, F is representing female. Right? And if you want to represent a particular city's zip code, particular city zip code, okay, the number of digits are always going to be same, zip codes. Things like that you can go for when you feel that they are going to occupy only the fixed number of characters. You can go for what? Char data type. And you can, if you want to represent the Aadhaar card number. There are so many things that I can give as an example. Right? So this is. Now next one is we have what? Second one we have varchar2. So why varchar2? Varchar2. So previously in the previous versions of Oracle, there is a data type called varchar data type is there. But that has several conflicts, that has several issues. Okay, so they have introduced a concept called varchar2. Okay, the behavior of varchar2 and varchar is completely different. There are a lot of advantages in the internal behavior of varchar2. Right? So in order to avoid conflicts, because previously there was a data type called varchar, in order to avoid the naming conflicts, also in order to differentiate or in order to distinguish the futures between varchar and varchar2, right? So they have come across to the new data type called varchar and they have placed that too. So this is the latest data type that has been introduced in the Oracle. So you are not supposed to use this varchar anymore. Okay. varchar2 and this is what the syntax is, varchar2, and you will give this size, the second data type. Previously it was fixed length. Okay, here it says it was a fixed length data type, isn't it? Okay. Now I can say that it is not fixed length anymore. In the varchar2, it is what? It is a variable length data type. It is what? It is a variable length data type. Instead of fixed, I can say it as variable. It's a variable length data type. It is not static in nature. Okay. Now it is what? It is dynamic in nature. Okay. The length will be increased or decreased according to the characters that you choose here. It is dynamic in nature. Dynamic. And the second point is what? It will store only the non-universe character in the form of 1 byte for every character. This is same. And the maximum size here is, there is a changes in the maximum size. So for char data type, it is 2000, right? For the varchar2, the maximum size is what? 4000 bytes. 4000 bytes. This is the only difference between char and the varchar2 data type. Okay, what is the advantage? Okay, and if you want to represent the same sequence, for example, let me take an example like, let me take a simple example like varchar2. Okay, I want to choose, I want to take name, employee name. I want to choose a data type called varchar2. Okay, I want to place the size as 10. Right? I want to store a string like good. Internally, what happens? A memory gets created of size 10. Okay, memory is going to get created of size 10. Okay, now focus here. So good will be stored accordingly. GOOD. It is occupying how many characters? It is occupying 4 spaces. In the remaining, there are 6 spaces left over, right? So these, they won't get padded with spaces. Instead of that, these spaces will be what? These spaces will be truncated. The spaces gets what? Truncated. Means it is used for the future purpose. Ideally, it is not occupying the given 10 bytes of memory. Okay, when the character is occupying only the 4 bytes of memory out of 10, the remaining spaces is going to get truncated. Right, I can do it like this. Okay, this is going to get truncated. Means there is no storage wastage. So there is no storage wastage. There is no memory wastages. No memory wastages. Right? 4 will be 4 bytes of memory gets occupied. Get occupied. 0 bytes memory wastage. Right? So if this is the case, and you are not allowed to give, and again you are not allowed to give a string like good morning here. If you are allowing a string like good morning here, it is out of the range because you have defined the range as 10 only. You cannot, this one is not allowed. Even though the space is getting truncated, you should ensure that the character, the string that you are representing is not exceeding the limit that you are presenting here, that you are placing here. Limit should not be exceeded. But if it is under limit, if it is under the limit, the remaining space will be truncated. That is a takeaway here. So this is not valid. It's not a valid one. So what is one advantage that you can see here? You can observe, you can do an observation here. What is the one biggest advantage? One, memory will be saved. Memory will be saved. So on which columns you can go for this data type? If you want to represent the first name, if you want to represent the last name of an employee, you want to represent any string type that is dynamic in nature. You cannot say that the value is always going to be fixed. The value is always dynamic. Right? In those cases, you can go for what? You can go for char2 data type. right? And what are the remaining data types that we have? We have Nchar and we have Nchar2. You see here, we have discussed char size var2 and we have Nchar and var2. Nchar, very easy. Nchar is very easy. Okay, just it is same as varchar. It is same as varchar. Same as varchar, not varchar. It is same as character. Same as character data type. Char data type, but it will additionally represent all the languages. You can use all the English local languages as the foreign languages under this data type. Okay, everything is going to be same. The size is going to be same, and when you talk about when you talk about the bytes, it is also going to be same. Okay, the internal working is going to be same like char data type. Maximum size is 2000 bytes, and the internal working is going to be same. But you can represent what? You can represent the foreign languages. Examples. Okay, let me show this example. So these are the foreign languages. Okay, you have vanakkam, you have varavelkirom, you have namaskaram, swagatam, suswagat. You can represent these many languages. False. Okay. What about Nvarchar2? Yes, it is same as, I can say, it is same as varchar2. Varchar2, but it will additionally represent all the regional languages in the world. Okay, let us see these things with small example. Let me open SQL Plus editor. Okay, let us establish the connection. So how do we establish the connection? Just by giving username and the. So I want to create a table. So create is a command. What you want to create? I want to create a table. So table is a command. Okay, please give the name of the table. I want to give the name of the table as EMP1, employee 1. Okay, and what is the column name? Okay, this is the table name, and you need to give the column. Column name is what? Column name is just let me give it as E name. What is the data type? Okay, I want to choose the character data type. What is the size? Size is what? Size is 10. A table has been created because of this command. Typically, a table gets created, right? Table will be created. Table creation. Okay. So you know table name. You know this is what? This is the table name. Table name. And this is what? This is the column name. So this is the column name. Column name. And you are using the actual data type. So this data type is not case sensitive. Okay, you can either give it in the lowercase letter, or you can give it in the uppercase letter. Data type. Data type. What is this? This is representing what? This is representing the size, isn't it? Data type. Here you go. Here is it is representing this size. A table has been created. So because of this command, internally a table gets created of only one column, because you have only one column name. So a table gets created right? And the name of the table is going to be what? emp1. Focus here. Okay, and the name of the column is going to be what? The column name is going to be ename. Ename. Okay, successfully you have created the table. We want to insert the data, right? So just now, for now, try to follow this command. So we will understand about this insert command in detail in the future. So insert into, you need to give the table name. In which table name you want to insert? So what is the table name that we have here already? Name of the table is emp1. Right? Insert into emp1. emp1. emp1, and we have to insert. We also have to we also have to the insert what? Insert what? We have to also have to insert the values. Where we want to insert the values? Inside the ename. Ename is the column. Values. Okay, what is the value that you want to insert? Let us enter something like, you are inserting the data here. It says one row created. This is the request, and you are getting the response like one row created. Isn't it? You have the request and you are getting the response. So use the insert command. Because of this command, okay, this Smith is going to get inserted in your table. Data Smith is going to get inserted in the table. Right? Likewise, you can keep giving insert command. Okay, let us test this. Let us say if I am giving Smith, or else let me say if I am giving good morning. Now you see, it says, okay, it is not allowed because value too large for the column. You have defined the length as 10, but you are exceeding the limit. You are doing the violation. If you perform any violation, that is not accepted. Right? It is fixed character. You should either give 10 characters, or else you have to ensure that that is within the limits. The string that you are entering is going to fall within the limits. You need to take care of that. Now, okay, sir, what if I try to enter a number here? What if you try to enter a number? Okay, instead of string, if you try to insert a number, okay, let me insert it as 1, 2, 3. So this is a numerical value, but this data type is meant to store the string values, but you are trying to enter the numerical value. Okay, still the row is getting created, but internally, what is happening behind the scenes? Internally, no matter what kind of data you are entering, if it is a number, this number will be converted. Okay, this number will get converted to the string, and that equivalent string will be stored in the memory. Okay, what we are doing it actually in the char data type, you are entering a number. You are trying to store a number 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 gets converted. Gets converted to a string and gets stored in the respective column. Okay, so this 1, 2, 3 gets converted to what? 1, 2, 3. So this 1, 2, 3 will be treated as a string. No matter if it is violating, still it will be allowed. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right, making sense? Okay. So this is all about what? This is all about the char data type. So next we have what? We have the varchar2, right? Varchar2. Okay. So let us see how it is going to work. Let me take a table. Okay, I want to create a table now. New table. Create table. And this time I am taking the table as employee2. Name of the table is employee2. And instead of char data type, I want to choose what? I want to choose the varchar2. Varchar2. Okay, the size is I am giving it as what? I am giving it as 10. But it is same as the char data type, but the size is going to be dynamic in nature. It's a variable size data type. Okay. Insert into emp2. Okay. And the name of the column is employee name only. I want to enter something like Smith. Okay. It says the row is getting created. Okay. Now you look at this. You look at this command. it says a table created and the row is getting created. But internally, okay, since it is dynamic in nature, if Smith is occupying 5 characters, the remaining spaces will be truncated, isn't it? It will function same like the char data type, but internally it is going to do what? Internally it is going to truncate the remaining spaces. So you have defined the size as 10. Remaining spaces will be truncated, which means they are utilized for the next set of data that you are choosing. It will not be wasted. It will not remain here forever. Okay? It will be disconnected. Functionality is same. If you are giving numbers will be accepted, but that will be converted to a string. And if you are giving any character out of this given range, the range is getting over exceeded, there will be a problem. Okay? Let's say that you want to insert something like Smith Joseph. Okay, it says value too large for the column. Things like that will happen. So what about the Nchar and varchar? Nchar and varchar are same like what? They are same like the char and varchar2 data type. When you take Nchar 10 and you take n varchar2 of 10, it is same like the char and varchar2 data type, but you can represent the international languages. For example, let me create table by using what? Let me change the name of the table as employee 3. Okay. I want to keep the table name as what? I want to keep the table name, column name as ename, and instead of varchar2, I want to use Nvarchar2. Okay, or else just char, or else I can use Nvarchar2, and I want to keep the limit as 20. Let me keep the limit as 20. The table is created. You can insert the values. You can insert what? You can insert the values, or you can insert the data of a regional language. Insert into employee 3 ename values is something like I want to represent a regional language. Okay, let me go for this. Okay, namaskaram. Okay, namaskaram is occupied here. Okay, we are able to insert it. One row created. But if you want to retrieve it, okay, so since this SQL Plus, we need to do some configuration behind the scenes. For now, that is not a big deal for us. We are not going to do it. We are trying to select it, right? Select star from employee 3. If you want to retrieve data under the ename, okay, you will be seeing like this, because the UTF-16, there is a configuration called UTF-16 configuration. That configuration we need to do SQL Plus, which is going to support the Unicode characters. Right, in the real-time application development, if you come across those things, that configuration is to be done, but the functionality is same. So this is how we insert. This is how we insert a value. Functionality is going to be same, but when it comes to display it in the console, the system will take care of it. Behind the scenes, we need to do a lot of configurations. So ideally, what I want to say is, I want to say that it is going to support the international language. Right? So this is all about what? This is all about the character, string data type. Okay, the next data type, you have something like what? The long data type. The third one, long data. If you get logged out of the meeting room, please rejoin. It will take only 10 minutes. It is also a variable length data type. A variable length data type. It is dynamic in nature. Dynamic in nature. Okay. It will store non-Unicode and Unicode characters only in the form of one character box. Okay. The specialty of this data type is it is going to store non-Unicode and Unicode character sets. Character sets in the form of one character for every byte. In the form of one character is 1 byte, which consumes 1 byte. Right? The maximum size here is what? The maximum size is 2 GB. The maximum size is very much significant than the previous data types. Previous data type, the maximum, and for Nchar, the maximum Nvarchar, the maximum size is 4,000 bytes, and for the varchar, I mean the char data type, the maximum size is 2,000 bytes. But when it comes to the long data type, look at the significance: 2 GB, up to 2 GB. So it's going to store, it's going to support a data that is of about 2 GB also. Right? However, there is a limitation in a particular table. In a table can have only one column of var data type. Only one column of what? Only one column of long data type. If you have a table like this, okay, it can have any number of columns, but at most you can choose only one column which is supporting the long data type. Only one column maximum. This is all about the long data type. You will come across this. We don't come across this very often. We will come across this once in a while, right? And the next data type is we have what? We have the date data types. Date data. Okay, very simple. It is going to store what? Stores the date and time information. Stores the date and time information. First point. And the range of the data. What is the range of the data that you can store? If the range is from okay 1 January 4712 BC to 31st December 9999 AD. So this is the range. Within this range you can store. Again, this date data types are classified into two types. Please be informed that date data types are classified into two types. What are they? First one is there is a data type called date data type, and second one is there is a data type called timestamp data type. Okay, so let us see about date data type. Okay, this is going to allow this data type. It's going to allow the date and time information of a particular type. Data type is going to allow the date and time information of a particular day. So this data type is going to allow the date and time information of a particular day. The first point. So please be informed that. And here one thing is there, guys. So you are able to store the date and time information. And again, here the optional is what it is okay not to store the time information. It's okay not to store the time information. That's why I'm saying that please be informed that the time information is optional. Information is optional. What does it really mean? You're not inserting any time. The user is not inserting any time. Then what happens? The system, then Oracle server will take the default time. Oracle server will take the time as Either it will take 12:00 hours 00 seconds AM, or it will take 00:00 hours 00 minutes 00 seconds AM by default. Okay, and the default format of, okay, what is the default format of date data type? The default format of date data type. The type is, the default format would be like this: DD followed by day, followed by what? Day followed by month, MON, followed by what? Year. It can be double Y or it can be Y by YY. Hours, and you have what? You have minutes. Minutes is MI. You have what? You have seconds. Okay, and it is what? It is AM or PM. AM or PM. Okay, how I can convert this into the reality? This how I can convert 08 followed by, let us take the current day 05 15 15 followed by what is the month? Jan, JAN, followed by what is the year? Year in 2025 or 2025. Okay, and what is the time now? Okay, 08. Okay, and followed by what is the minutes? 06 followed by seconds. And one thing here, you can hold the hours. You can hold the hours. You can also hold the minutes. If you're entering the data, by holding hours and minutes, you can enter the data. But you cannot hold the seconds. Seconds cannot be, you cannot say exactly, specifically on what second you are inserting this data. When you about insert the seconds, definitely there will be a mismatch, isn't it? You cannot hold the seconds. This is not possible. You will specifically enter only what? Only the hours information, or only the the minutes information. But ideally, when it comes to seconds, you cannot really hold it. At the time of giving this data itself, you may cross at least 3 or 4 seconds. It is not possible. It is not possible to hold the seconds. That is what I am trying to say. That's why you will end up in only giving the information like the date information and the time information, that is limited to the minutes and hours and the minutes. There are predefined data sets which is going to take the system time automatically. It is going to take the universe time automatically with the milliseconds precision. Okay, this is just for the understanding the data type. By using this, you can enter these fields, but it would be ridiculous when you choose the seconds information. You can ignore this. You can just go up to filling the minutes information, and you can choose AM or PM. But I'm saying that you also have an option to fill the seconds information, which is really not recommended, right? So again, they said date data type. Date data type occupies how many? Occupies only 7 bytes. 7 bytes fixed memory. Okay, when I say something like, okay, let me take this. Okay, in this, day is going to occupy 1 byte of memory. Okay, the month is going to occupy 1 byte of memory. The year occupies 2 bytes of memory, and the hours occupies 1 byte of memory. The minutes occupies 1 byte of memory. The seconds occupies 1 byte of memory. Totally how many bytes? Totally 8 bytes of memory. 7 bytes of memory, I'm sorry. AM or totaling how many bytes? 7 bytes of memory. Totally 7 bytes of memory will be occupied. Okay, this is all about what data types. We will see some examples. Okay, and also there is the last data types, which is called as what? The timestamp data type. By this we will conclude. Okay, you have time stamped today. Timestamp. Okay, this is going to allow date and time information. Is going to allow date and time information with milliseconds precision. You can also go for the milliseconds precision. Okay, the default format of timestamp data type is, okay, this is the default format. You have date followed by you have what, you have month, followed by you have what, you have year, okay, you have what, hours, you have minutes, you have seconds, or you have milliseconds. It can be AM or PM. This is the default format. Okay, how can I convert this the real time? Okay, 15th January. Okay, either you can choose 25 or 2025. Okay, what is the hours that we have? 08. Okay, and 11 minutes. Okay, let me take something like 1 minute, 15 seconds. Okay, and the milliseconds will be captured like this, AM or PM. Okay, and this is going to occupy what, 11, totally it will occupy 11 bytes of memory. It occupies 11 of memory. Okay, and it is what, it is a fixed memory, not a variable one, fixed memory, because the remaining spaces will be paired, remaining things will be paired with this. Total it will occupy what, 11 bytes of memory, right? And in this case, take this an example. Okay, for the day it will occupy 1. For the month it will occupy 1 bytes. For the year it will occupy 2 bytes, and for the hours 1 byte, for the minutes 1 byte, for the seconds 1 byte, but for the milliseconds it is going to occupy what, 4 bytes of memory. So totaling it is going to occupy totally 11 bytes of memory. Totally 11 of memory. Okay, let us see some example. One example we will see. Let me clear the screen. Okay, I want to create a table. Create table. Name of the table is what, employee. Let me take employee 5. Okay, I want to create a column like hire date. Okay, hire date is the column. Hire date is the column name, and the data type is what, the date itself. Okay, the table has been created. Now I want to insert the value. Okay, by choosing the date data type, I'm able to create what? I'm able to create the table. Okay, I want to insert value. So how I will be inserting value? Insert into MP5. Okay, followed by what? Followed by the hire date. Hire date, and what is the value that you want to insert? Values. Okay, so please ensure that when you are inserting the value, okay, by inserting the value, you can choose what, you can choose system date. You can choose a sys date. When you choose sys date, so ideally what is happening, you are choosing the date data type, but you are not dynamically entering the value. You are entering the value what, I mean, you are not statically entering the value, you are entering the value dynamically. So you have an option to enter a value not by default, okay, not by manual entry. You will just give a command like sysdate, SYSDADD. This will ensure that, let me enter the sysdate for the second day. Let me insert the sysdate for the third time. Let me select star from EMP5. If you see, the current system date has been entered. I have said no, this timestamp, okay, by default the timestamp you can give, I mean if you want you can show the seconds, you can show time also here, but you just want to print the date of the system. The system, what is the actual date? Okay, 15th January 2000, that will be printed. If you want to enter the details manually, instead of system date, Okay, you should use a command like to_date command. Okay, followed by, I will tell you why this to_date, followed by 2025, followed by the year, followed by the date, followed by the, followed by the month, followed by the date. Okay, and again you can separate it with a comma. You can represent the format year minus hyphen. Okay, and you have what? You have month information hyphen, you have date information. You are placing the format here. Okay, by using this function, to_date function, you will, if whatever the date that you want to represent, you will enter that year manually, and you will specify the format next to it. Okay, this 2025 is representing the year format, the 01 is representing the month format, 15 is representing the day format. Right, let me choose a different date like 02 January. 02 January. One row created. Okay, and again I select star from employee file. See, you are getting this value. So you have an option to enter these details manually also by using the to_date function. This to_date function is used to represent the date specifically in your own format. You can go with the year format in the beginning, or you can go with the date format in the beginning, or you can go with the month format in the beginning. You can choose either one. Right? If I want to go for the timestamp, okay, let me create a table for the timestamp. Create table higher date, instead of date I am giving the timestamp. It is another data type, right? Timestamp I am giving. Okay, instead of employee 5, I want to give what? I want to give emp6. The table is created. I want to insert value. Okay, insert value. Now you see, now you focus here. Insert into employee 6 table. Okay, in the timestamp, I want to choose a values like I am giving what? System time stamp. Okay, I am asking, I am giving the information like please enter the value by taking the system timestamp. No, inbuilt data. Okay, system timestamp. And if I try to retrieve this, that char from emp6. Okay, you will get the date along with the time, along with the milliseconds, along with the seconds, along with the milliseconds. So this will be taken care by this function system timestamp. You can say the exact time at the time of inserting the data, whatever the time is, that will be captured from the system. Okay, that will be stored in the database. Will be stored in that. Okay, and the difference is only these two. Let me copy this complete thing and give it to you.
Now, why it has two values?
Which one?
Timestamp.
I have inserted this for 2 times. Insert here, and again one more. I have created 2 rows here. Okay, so this is the first row. At the time of inserting the first row, 36 seconds. At the time of inserting this row, it has become 37 seconds, and this. Okay. So ironically, I mean, you can always go with the timestamp in the real time, but there are some cases you will be going with the date data type also. There will be some cases. Okay. But most probably we will not be working with the timestamps. We will be working, but we will use this to store the higher date, to store the exit date, things, information like that. You will come across this less often, not very often. Okay, this is all about the database, data types. Especially we have completed how many today? String data type we have completed. We have completed about data type. So tomorrow there are 2 more data types of remaining that will be completed by tomorrow. Then we will start understanding the creating tables in an efficient way. Right. So this is all about today. Okay, I need to go for work. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can